Hi everyone, so this video is going to be very different and I've not really done a video regarding anything other than fish really. I do have on another channel one about my snake, but this is going to be more about my houseplants. And I have them kind of surrounding the aquariums in different ways. I tend not to submerge them or anything like that, they tend not to do that well. So I keep mostly at the moment Aroids. I've gone through different phases. I've had bonsais, carnivorous plants, and most of those are still at my parents' house. I do a few outside plants and I do collect ginkgos, which is ginkgo biloba. So you can see here, it doesn't even look like that much because the light is really high. So I'm just going to show some of my collection because I don't think people want to see loads of aloe veras and boring ones, I guess. On my cacti, which I don't have many of because I'm not really into cacti. So the first one is probably one of my favourites, and a lot of people I think they say well, treat it like it's a boring plant, but this is Monstera sonai. I believe it's just the normal form. So you can see it's got large fenestrations, and I keep it growing up a really bad moss pole, sorry. Just to give it a bit of structure, but I need to get a better one that really absorbs more moisture, so I could get, so as the plant grows on the moss pole, it will get bigger leaves because it's being supported, and the leaves can take up the moisture from the moss and therefore grow a lot larger in leaf form. And I've seen some gigantic ones, and that's kind of what I want from this plant. But it is a cutting, and I took it around December last year with one leaf, and you can see it's lost a few, but I think it was the shock from moving upstairs. But yeah, this is all since then, and it's just the one cutting. I kind of like it as a specimen sort of plant, so I'll put that one down. And then next, I think I'll do this plant. I haven't had that long. I've had it just over a year. So, well, I got it June last year. So this is Alocasia amazonica, or Amazonica. I believe it could be a poly, but I'm not entirely convinced or sure. So this is actually two plants in there that you can see it's produced a little offlet bulb sort of thing. Easy without the pot. So this is growing really well, and it kind of started off with really tiny leaves, and now it's just throwing out massive ones. But it absolutely hates winter, and it really struggles during winter, and I expect to lose a leaf or maybe even all the foliage because I don't have the high humidity and I don't have grow lights. So I'll see, and I do want to get some cabinets to put quite a few of them in. I also have my favourite, which I've just accidentally damaged as well. But this guy, it got spider mites. This is a 1.5-year-old Alocasia amazonica, which I grew off another one I own, which produced loads of bulbs, which I will shift on. It did get a spider mite infection, but I did manage to catch it in time. But I need to repot this thing because it's not potted very well. It's getting quite big as well. So this is about a year and 6 months maybe. And I repotted this, I think it would have been May last year. So all this growth is since May. And it's practically a mature plant, but I've seen them a lot bigger, especially like Royal Botanical Gardens at Kew. So I'm just going to put that down. Okay, so I'll bring up my what I call cursed plant, because so far I've lobbed off a leaf. Is it Spadex, the bit that the leaves come out of? I've lobbed that off, lobbed off half a leaf, and it's dried out before as well. It seems to... But this is Philodendrons squaliform, so this is related. It is also an aroid, and it's just got the hairy stems here. If I bring it closer, you can see it's got red to it, and underneath is very attractive. I've seen these grow gigantic, and this I think isn't getting enough light or humidity or something, because it's just growing without leaves at the moment. So it doesn't need fertilising, so I'll see what happens. It's I bought that Halloween last year, so it's nearly coming up to a year, and it has had a lot of trauma. since then. So it's one of those plants where it sort of does hit and miss, and you can see that it's about that tall. It keeps growing and growing, so I might cut that off and try and take that as a cutting and then encourage other growth from that plant, but I'll have to see really. So next one is, you can kind of tell I did go through a little bit of an alocasia phase. So this is Alocasia black velvet, of course low light situation, and it's growing up, but not very condensed large leaves, just up, and I'm not really the biggest fan of it, to be honest. I do prefer dragon scale, and I would like dragon scale. But you can see it's got a pink blush there, and I got that from RHS Wisley at least a year ago. I can't exactly remember when. So I've got so many plants around me that it is kind of insane. Next one is, I got this last June. It's in a heavy pot, probably a pot way too big. But this is more, and you can see that straight away, this leaf is an old leaf and it's on its way out. This leaf is an unhappy leaf. This is a Monstera SP Peru, and it struggled this year. I think the thing was repotting it and it dried out. So it's just take it through winter at the moment and then hoping that it copes. It is a bit dusty, but yeah, so I doubt it will have much growth till the next season, which will be a while because I'm not really getting enough light, and this space here is quite full, but I'll be moving soon, so that makes it easier. So if I grab this one. So this is probably my biggest drama queen of a plant. This is Anthurium clinovium, is it? So it's, I kind of think of it as like an orchid, and it has grown quite a bit, but it kept sending out flowers, so I kept chopping off the flowers to get more leaves, and it got spider mites last year. So I cut off when I could all the leaves that had the spider mites, and it's growing quite well. It's not massive in these high humidity, so yes, when I get sort of mini greenhouse, it'll definitely go in there. But yeah, I've got it, I think I got it last July or August. You can see the pot is but if you work with animals, you kind of get used to gross stuff. So I've got two of these actually. This is Cycas revoluta, and I got it, I think it might be 2 years old now, and it was in the tiniest pot, not even 9 centimetres, and as it does, it's very slow growing. So I like the leaves to be big, so I kind of keep it in a very bright situation. So it is right by the window. It's one of my favourite plants. I would like more cycads, but finding them can be a bit of a challenge, and I'm on a bit of a plant ban, so I can't really get any more. So next is probably my heaviest and rarest plant. Let's see if I can carry it, because the only pot of the right size is bloody massive. So this was a tiny cutting when I got it in May, April. It does have spider mite damage, same time as when a few others got it, but I managed to rescue it. So you can see this is the sort of size of leaf when I got it, and then it just started sending out massive leaves. And it's a really hardy plant. But you can see this one's its largest. It's kind of very typical, sort of trailing along the ground philodendron, and it's producing a new leaf, but what looks like will be a small one, which I think is just the lower light levels coming in now, really preventing that growth. But here's a smaller one. There you go. And it is a really pretty plant. I was going to take a cutting this year, and I don't think I will. I think I'll do it next year. I'm kind of like, it's like being in a jungle near this thing, and I have it going against one of my fish tanks because it just gets in the way. I'm not really sure how people manage these sort of philodendrons that do get so big. It probably needs an area of more space. Yeah, and I've just left some cycad leaves that I was cutting off, some dried ones and one that I'm rescuing, and I just left it on top of it. And yeah, so it's a nice plant. I do really like it. I just want the leaves to be big and heart-shaped, which will take a while, I understand. Oh my god. It's like having a child almost. Just a really heavy one. Oh. So, probably one of the last few I'll show. This is the Metaphyllum spuciatum, is it? So it was once a philodendron, and then it got reclassified as the Metaphyllum, which is the same genus as the Xander, is it? So that leaf didn't do too well. Let's show. So I only got this about a month ago. Can't really. There, that is, it's beautiful leaves, and I've only ever seen them online for like what, £50, and I went to Just Risley and I got it for like, what was it, 15? And it's in its same pot, yeah, 15. So there's a Philodendron Green Wonder, and it's a slow growing. It feels like a bit like an orchid or a Anthurium. So it sort of grows, it seems to, well, feels like it grows a bit like that. Although the new leaf, it has got a new leaf coming through. It did have another one, but I think the whole move and the fact being in the shop and stress of all of that, it did die, but it has got a new one coming through. But it's such a slow growing plant. Really beautiful plant though, but yeah, it's a bit dire, wait for it to grow. And it is in a lower light situation. I usually put it above this fish tank, because in the wild I believe they're found sort of by the margins above the water level, not having their roots dipped in but around sort of water. So I kind of like, I'd like to have it in a situation near where it'd be in the wild eventually. So the right pot and around fish tanks. So I really like this plant. I don't have a favourite plant, but I just like to collect a variety of leaf forms, and as a sonai I think has to be one of my favourites for it. I do have one calathea. Another sort of interesting plant I have is, that might be the label there. It's a Dischidia. No. This is Dischidia imbricata. So it needs a bit of water recovering. It's a bit, but it's known as the ant plant. And it does like a little bit of high humidity, it seems, but I bought it where it's inside a giant African land snail shell, and it's growing inside that, and it's doing quite well. It keeps flowering. I don't know when to really take it out, but this long tendril I think suggests that it needs, well, climbing space, which is such a big plant to accommodate in that respect, that if it will just keep, so I usually just fold it in back in because I don't want tendrils everywhere. It's a really unusual plant. I got it in February, just before any restrictions, lockdown and that lot, and behind it is Alocasia zebrina, which is quite a big one, and it keeps getting bigger. But yeah, over winter I expect it to get a bit, well, sad. So that's sort of all of them, all of the ones I think would be of interest. Of course I have my outdoor plants, and I doubt anyone really wants to see my different ginkgo trees. I do have, Anubis in each of the aquariums. I've got a few different variants and species, I think. Might just be variants, but I've got a few in each of the aquariums. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and if people want to see more plant stuff then I might do, but I won't really do aquarium plants. I kind of find them boring, hence why I only really have the Anubis, and aquarium plants aren't the most actual natural thing in a water ecosystem. It really depends, but most of them are quite void, especially where they're so dark and low in nutrients. So anyway, thank you.